Thank you, everyone. Once again, I appreciate your patience. So we shall proceed with the session. So I would like to welcome everyone who has joined this webinar today, which is going to be on the topic, the gut-brain connection. So we have Dr. Vadivel, who is going to lead the session today on this topic. So just to give you all a brief, Dr. Vadivel, he's an experienced healthcare professional in the field of naturopathy and Ayurveda, and he holds a strong academic background and has dedicated his career in advancing healthcare practices and improving patient outcomes. So he's known for his compassionate approach and commitment to providing high quality care. So he's also the chief medical officer at the Healing Health Naturopathy and Wellness Center, which is situated in Coimbatore. So over to you, doctor.
Good evening to all and all. It's nice to see all of you on this very relevant and important topic in this modern world, the mental health and how the gut brain is influencing this aspect. So let's go into the session without wasting the time. So first of all, before going to the session, we need to understand the demarcations. So what is the healthy state of the mind? If you don't know what is the healthy state of mind, we could not able to recognize the difference between the abnormality and a healthy state. So first we should know what is the mental health. So we might be know what is the definition for the health, but what is the definition for the mental health? So that is very important. So mental health, it's not about being completely devoid of any abnormalities. So say that you're in anxiety or some other depressions. It's not like that. We need to be completely avoid of all these problems. Of course, these things happens on a day-to-day life. Daily I'm under the certain stress. It's about how we are overcoming the status and how we are going through the day-to-day stresses and without affecting that how we are coming up. That is called resilience. So the thing is, if you say I'm mentally health, the person should be a resilient. That means on day-to-day life, definitely he might be undergoing lot of stresses, social influencing and affecting things. So like this, ups and downs, but it's about how quickly you are bouncing back. That is very important to maintain your mental health. So resilience is one of the factor which says I'm mentally fit and healthy. Next, self-esteem. So what is self-esteem? Whether you are valuing yourself, whether you are recognizing your qualities, whether it is meeting your standards, or you're able to use those standards to achieve your set goals in your life. So this is all the important aspect when it comes to the self-esteem. Sometimes, if you have a low self-esteem for a long period of time, rather than maybe a short period of time, maybe hours to one day, or maybe overnight. Today might be the day anything, but after sleeping, when you are waking up the next day morning, still if you're in the same space of problem what you are facing yesterday, that means you're not resilient, your self-esteem is not up to the mark. Next comes to the things emotional intelligence. So what is emotional intelligence? Most of the people are understanding intelligence means I'm very talented. It's not like that. It's about emotional intelligence. So what is that emotion and intelligence? It is about understanding the two important aspect of emotions. What is the two important aspect? One is from yourself at current situation on given time, what sort of emotions you are undergoing. At the same time, when you're interacting with a social life, that might be your family members, that might be your friends, or that might be your colleagues, or any third persons, and how you are understanding their emotional aspects and how you are managing and bridging the gap. That is called emotional intelligence. So, when it comes to the mental health, it's not about that we need to completely away from all this kind of mental turmoils like stress, low self-esteem. It's not about that. It's about resilience, how quickly we are bouncing back from the given facts and stressors. So now we are very clear about mental health. So now we should understand what are all the factors which is affecting the mental health. Because if you don't know the factors which influences our mental health, it is not easy to guard and safeguard and keep away from all those factors. Sometimes we could not able to keep away from the factors, but yes, we can at least minimize the damages, or else we can cope up with the stressors. So it is very important to understand the factors which is going to impact the mental health. Let's go. What are the factors which is going to affect our mental health? So if you see these things, there are three major categories. So first thing is biological factor, and second thing is life experience, third thing is environmental factors. So when it comes to the biological factors, there is a lot of subdivisions that will go on one by one later in this session. And next comes to the life experience. It's about your memories, traumas, somewhat got abused by the colleagues or family members or friends, might be the social cause like this. And when it comes to the environmental factors, your socio-economic condition and access to the healthcare and social support. So these are the factors which influences your mental health. But our today's topic is gut, brain, on mental health. So, what is the connection between these three factors? Of course, we are not going to see these last two factors. Our aim is to understand the brain chemistry out of in these factors which influences the mental health. So, let's understand the biological factor, especially the brain chemistry, how it influences the mental health. If you're not understanding the root, it is not easy to understand how the gut is connected with this mental health. So before going to this gut brain connection, first we will understand what is the biological factor and the brain chemistry which is important for the mental function and mental health. So if we go to these biological factors, you can see there are a lot of things which influences your mental health. So one is the brain chemistry, that is the neurotransmitters. So what are the neurotransmitters? So that could be any name in terms of medical. They might be describing the names for understanding purpose. But for a layman things, we call there is some transporters. We call in a medical term it's a neurotransmitters அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம். So these transporters we call in a medical term neurotransmitters. If I wanted to say the name, these are the serotonin. You might be came across a lot of social medias or in your day-to-day lives. You might be familiar with these names like the serotonin and dopamine. So all these things is contributing to regulate and maintain your mood. Further, this mood is going to affect your mental health. If your mood is good, of course your mental also will echo that good mood. But if your mood is not good, it's a kind of reciprocal mechanism. You will feel bad and sad. But if it is continuous for a long duration, like a long time periods, that will impact your mental health. So the transporters in the brain, that is called neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. So all these factors is very important to keep ourselves mentally healthy and happy. So the first one is transporters. Second one is your structure and function. So how the structure affects. So any abnormalities in your brain. Sometimes the people used to say they had some difficult abnormalities in the brain. Maybe there might be some sort of regions which involved in the emotional regulations that may be getting impacted might from the birth or might be occurred, might be the accident or certain aspects that also will influence the mental health. So how it is affecting? Because these are the structures which works on your emotions and cognitions. So when your emotions and cognition is not up to the mark, our mental health will be in a question mark. So here I'm using the word cognition. So what is cognition? Most of the people is not aware of this medical term. So cognition is about your memory associated with your experience and how you are merging this experience and memory in order to solve any problems which you are facing on day-to-day life or differentiate the factors like this. So these are called cognition. So any of the area which involves the emotional or cognition area is getting affected by structurally, that also will impact the mental health. So next comes to the changes called hormonal influence. So what are the hormones? What is hormones? It's a kind of, for easy understanding for the layman's, some influencing factors. Suppose if you have 100 rupees with you can get only a half of the pizza. But if you have 1,000 rupees, you will get at least a full pizza. So like this, there is a hormones which influences your functionalities of the neurotransmitters and the chemicals, all these things. So these hormones, I can say kind of influencing factor, I can say influencer. Suppose if you want to get any certificates for yourself, there might be any certificates. Rather than going directly and approaching the persons, if you have any one known person is going to recommend, that can speed up the process of getting the certificate. So like this, there is a hormonal factors which influences the neurotransmitters, and already which I spoke about the transmitters. So it influences the speedy process. So these are the things called hormones. So these hormones plays a major role in our mental health. And next comes to the neurodevelopmental factors. So what is this neurodevelopmental factors? So this is about from the birth, even I can say not from the birth, even before the birth, when you're into the mother's uterus, from there itself, these factors is influencing your mental health. So this could be a lot of, subjects. Again, it's a big subject. I don't want to take it much more deep. So simply I can say it is, mother's healthy status or their toxic levels or their genetic factors. So these are the things which influence the baby. So if everything is up to the mark on the balance level, baby will be healthy. Otherwise, the baby became, autistic children or no attention deficit children like this. Again, this is a kind of mental disorder. So don't think mental health is only for you. A pregnant woman should take care of their health so that they can take care of their, baby's mental health before they are getting born. So this is the factors which is very, very important when it comes to the pregnant women, even the non-born babies getting affected mentally if the certain things are not going as per the standards. Then comes to your personal physical health conditions, any long-term diseases. You got frustrated. How long I will take this medicine? I'm not getting any cure. So these kind of mental health conditions or frustrations also impact your mental health. Then comes to this substance abuse, like cigarettes and alcohol, or any other substance abuse like drugs. All these things influences your mental health because at some one point of time you will get addicted to these things. That's not going to allow you to functional normally because it requires more and more substance to work on the optimum level. Next comes to the nutrition deficiencies. When nowadays we are not taking the proper diet because of all the modern food and junk foods, or because of our working times, we forgot to take the essential nutrients which is required to work on the certain factors what we discussed already, the transporters, hormones, and the neurodevelopmental factors. All these things is getting defected. So this will influence the mental health. Next comes to the sleep disturbance. If you're not sleeping properly, maybe 1 day 2 day it's fine, but for a continuous, for a month or a years, the sleep deprivation affects the biological clock. Further, the biological clock influences all the parameters which already discussed. That also influences the healthy state of the mood that reflects on your mind. So these are the biological factors which is important when it comes to the mental health. So now let's understand how this is combining on our gut and brain axis. So when it comes to the gut brain axis, first we need to understand what is an axis. So axis is a two-way of pathway. So bi-directional pathway. That means for easy understanding, it's a kind of connection between your body and mind. Simply, you are able to do lift 100 kg of weight. You're a wild one, but that day you might be mentally weak. You have a certain bad news, and emotionally you're drained. In those times, can you able to lift the 100 kg weight? It's not possible. So similarly, this is called connection. Though you're physically strong, but you're mentally weak, because of this, you're not able to do your routine work. So similarly, the brain and the gut has a connection and communication. If one is healthy, other part also will be healthy. What I mean is, if you are mentally healthy, if your gut will also will be in a healthy state. And similarly, if your gut is healthy, your mind will be healthy. Similarly, if gut is wrong or it is stuffed with a lot of new toxins or chemicals which causes the inflammations, that will affect your brain. So in this axis, it's a two-way communications, and this two-way communication could be a chain communication also. So the thing is, it's about influencing the any one sort of communications to affect the another. So if you want to keep your mind healthy first, you need to keep your gut healthy. But to keep your gut healthy first, you need to keep your mind healthy. So where to start first? Whether the first is the brain or gut. In this, nothing is fast. Both things should be simultaneously. So both the things needs to be taken care of together. If you want to work on the gut-brain axis to take care of your health, both the things needs to be taken together because it's a bi-directional communications. It's not a one-way communications. If it is a one-way communications, we can influence any one aspect so that we can influence the another without working on these things. Since it's a bi-directional communication, it is always important to work. If you wanted to safeguard or fine tune the mental health, we need to take care both the aspects together. That is your mind and your gut. So what is gut? Why the name came? Because from the ancient time, and we had a lot of connections, the intuition, we call it gut feeling. So unknowingly we brought this term gut feeling, but in fact the feeling starts arise from your brain, not from the gut. But yes, gut is giving the signal. That might be from the lot of factors. That's why it has been connected the gut feeling. So now we understand how the gut is important when it comes to the influencing the biological factors, the brain chemistry, which influences the mental health. So now, what is this bilateral communication? We'll go a little bit deep so that it is easy to understand where we can influence and how we can synchronize this bilateral communications for our day-to-day life to maintain the healthy state of mind. So, one is neural pathway. And the next thing is, which we already discussed, that neurotransmitters that transport us. And also we discussed the hormones. And which we didn't discuss is about our immune system. So how much your body is responding to the certain danger states, that might be from your internal danger or that might be the external danger. So of the immune function impacts and communications gives the healthy state of your mind. Then comes to the microbiota. So what is the microbiota? So microbiota is a combination of bacteria, viruses from our body. So this microbiota plays a major role when it comes to the gut brain health in these communications. So this gut microbiota has a vast subject. For this, first we need to understand the number of microbiotas which we are habituating in our physical body. So what are the areas these microbiotas are available? Mainly gut microbiota. Gut means which is in your intestine. If I wanted to say exactly, from the lower one third of the food pipe, we call it a trachea, from till to your anus, we had a lot of bacteria. These bacteria will be the combination of good bacteria and bad bacteria. Similarly, oral microbacteria in our mouth. And another thing is, even in our skin, we had a bacteria and viruses. Why this one? Even the baby which is getting born to the normal delivery through that, perineum, I can say genital urinary tract, that vaginal tract also having a microbiota. So there itself, the mother's microbiota start to influence the baby, depends on how healthy it is. So in these cases, microbiota has a major things. There is a one research paper which shows the number of microbiota is 10 times higher than the human body cells because the intestine is such a lengthy area and there's a lot of colonies which is harboring in these intestines. So think it is a 10 times higher than the human cells. That means you can see how much signals, how much electric activities it can pass on to the system, which further influences this bidirectional communication. Hence why in this gut brain health, the microbiota plays a major role to influence the mental health. So today's topic is about that only the gut brain axis for a mental health in the naturopathic way. So when it comes to the gut brain axis, the primary things which is in our control means we can 100% control and modify these things so that we can take care our mental health. Certain factors which we cannot control, that is called your economic status, that is very long term, and your social status, the external influences, these are not under our control. But yes, this gut microbiome things is under our control based on our certain lifestyle factors. So now, how this axis involves for a medical people, it's a complex subject. For the layman's, I would like to say it's about giving the switching on the certain factors about switch on and off buttons from the electric things. So it's about for a layman understanding. If you wanted to switch on the light, we need to switch on the switch. Without switching on the switch, we cannot switch on the light. So like these things to trigger this, axis, the microbial axis, there is a some beginning of the pathways. So how this axis started functioning, starting from our intestines. If you see this in these pictures, I had given the first thing is called microbial metabolic entry. These all linings on your intestine mucosa. There is a lot of nerve innervations. This is called nerve fibers. This is called enteric nerve system. So from there, it starts to give the signals through the vagus nerves that is connecting to your brain with the another organs, lot of organs. These vagus nerves has been connected with the multiple organs, which includes your heart, stomach, intestine, and like the lungs. So any abnormalities in these areas together it will affect the vagus nerves. So if the vagus nerves gives the signal to the brain, that brain is going to create a transporters. That's why we discussed neurotransmitters and neuromodulators. So again, that transporters is going to create a certain specific hormones that might be happy hormones or that might be a bad hormones uh, for a medical things. This could be a hormones kind of, hypothalamic pituitary axis, which creates the cortisol and serotonin hormones either from locally or from the brain. So as per the science, 95% of the serotonin hormone is secreted by the intestine itself. Only 5% is from the pituitary hypothalamic axis. And from that hormones, again, it is linked to the microbiota, then it's connected to the immune system. So we'll understand this one by one. So in this neural pathway, we discussed about the vagus nerve. So what is this vagus nerve? The people who don't know the English, in Tamil it is called Parivu Narampakal அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. So what is that? This gives the signal. It's a kind of sensory fibers. So sensory fibers means what is that? Anything, the smell or light. So these kind of things, senses what you are perceiving, even the spicy temperature of the food, the sweetness, bitterness, spiciness of the food. So like this, all these are connected to the senses. So this gives the signal to the brain. So the thing is, when it comes to this vagus nerve, what are the areas we need to take care? The thing is about your healthy heart state, your breathing pattern, your sensory input, and your skin tone, and your smells. Everything should be in the intact level. If any one is getting affected, as we discussed earlier, we had a lot of microbiota from your skin, oral things, and the gut. So people are thinking only microbiome is in the gut. No, not only that. As we discussed, this vagus now plays a major role when it comes to the influencing the mental health. So we need to take care of these areas also if we really wanted to take a control on this aspect. So this vagus now gives the signals to the brain what to do, what should not do. It depends on the local signal which is produced by the intestinal epitheliums, how this signal is given to the vagus nerves. So next comes to the neurotransmitters and neuromodulators. So what is the neurotransmitters and neuromodulators? As we discussed already, there is a traveler which carries the information. But when you're going on the way, there is one movie in a vague movie. Take diversion, take diversion, take diversion. At the end, the person will not reach the destination. So like this, there is some speed breakers called neuromodulators. So either these neuromodulators can reduce your travel time or can increase your travel time or sometimes completely stop the travel times. So these are called neurotransmitters and neuromodulators. So the neurotransmitters can be influenced by the neuromodulators. So what are these neuromodulators? As we discussed earlier, these are the kind of factors which influences the quick information passing, like a speed breakers or a diversions. These neuromodulators could be a biological factors or could be inflammatory factors or could be a induced factors from the toxins from the intestine or could be a stimulant factors because of some happy hormone secreting things. So either it can influence, either it can suppresses. So for the medical people, it's a big subject. Just for a layman purpose, I already explained. It's a transporters which it can be influenced rather than in that a movie. Take diversion, take diversion. If they would have been opened all the barricades, suddenly when the person is entering, like when the ambulance is going, so quickly we can reach the destination. So like this, all the neuromodulators can be influenced by the intestinal epithelium and the intestinal toxins and the inflammatory markers. What is the inflammatory markers? It's the kind of immune response which we already discussed. The immune response. What is the immune response? It's a kind of soldiers which is in our body, which is readily waiting to kill any enemies. Enemy means that could be a external enemy or internal enemy. But if when there is no enemy, but if the body started producing this, soldiers anonymously, that will attack our own body cells So these are the inflammatory markers when there is no need, but if this inflammation is secreting, this will impact the neurotransmitters. So the neurotransmitters and neuromodulators can be influenced by your intestinal epithelial cells. Next comes to the endocrine pathway. As we said, all these are all connected, the chain reaction. We started from that vagus nerve, then we went to this neuromodulators and neuro transmitters, all these things. Now comes to this endocrine pathway. So because of all these factors, which can affect the or give the signal to the brain to secrete specific hormones. So this could be a two different sort of hormones. One could be activating hormones, one could be suppressing hormones. So this mechanism can activate any important aspects or suppress any important aspects. And this could be your gut motility, could be your digestion, could be your absorption. So because of this, either you may get a diarrhea, either you may get the constipation. So the thing is now the signal should pass properly what is required to maintain the optimum health. So this is called endocrine pathway, which is getting influenced by the other important factors. Now comes to the immune system. As we already spoke, these immune systems are like a soldiers which is about to fight the bacteria, viruses, or any dead cells within our system to keep us away from the any physical harms or dangers which is going to create a disease in a long run. So these are the pro-inflammators. So what is the pro-inflammators? The pro-inflammators are the substance which is going to alert the primary immune functions. So these pro-inflammators in a long run will influence the other functionalities of transmitters, endocrine system hormones, and vagus nerve influence, all these things. One simple example, these pro-inflammators will impact the important aspect of serotonin secretion in the intestine. As we already discussed, the 95% of the serotonin is secreted by our intestinal epithelium and mucosal linings. If this is getting affected by this, locally producing pro-inflammators like these interleukins and common what is this antipeptides and tumor necrosing factors and interference. All these things will start to impact the hypothalamus and pituitary axis mechanism because this maybe down regulate the system or maybe stimulate the system. If it down regulates, your brain will give the signals to stop or stop all the functionalities of secreting the recovered hormones for digestion, absorption, gut movement, all these things. But if it is overstimulated, it will trigger the stress mechanism that will create the other unnecessary things like the kind of diarrhea kind of things. For a simple example, IBS, the irritable bowel syndrome. So in this irritable bowel syndrome, it is a vice versa because of our frequent gut irritations. Mentally, we are irritated. That leads to the anxiety and depression, even sometimes the aggressiveness. People are thinking mental health affected means only depression, anxiety. No, the person who is showing more aggressive and anger also kind of mental disorder only. So this IBS is the one of the best example how this local irritating inflammatory things affects your mental health. Hence, keeping the immune system under the balanced state is important. To keep them in a balanced state, we need to keep the intestines are completely clean and with a lot of good bacteria. We call it probiotics and microbiotics. In medical term, it is called symbiotics that can be added with your routine life using the probiotic. probiotic foods. Now comes to this microbiota, which we already discussed, how this is impacting. This, there is a certain bacteria which impacts the secretion of, certain specific precursors for the hormonal secretions. There is a chemical called GABA and tryptophan. So all these things are getting influenced by the certain kind of bacteria, because these bacteria are producing the some short chain fatty acids which influences the secretion of this tryptophan and GABA, that is gamma aminobutyric acids. These are the important precursor proenzymes which recurs to create the certain specific enzyme like serotonin, all these kind of things. And this tryptophan is required for the vitamin B productions. It is very very important for uh, nerve conductions and neurotransmitters functionalities. So hence maintaining the healthy epithelium with a good amount of symbiotics is influencing the mental health. Now the impact of gut health on mental health. So with this all these informations, now we understand how it is important the gut which influences the mental health. As we discussed in the beginning of our session, it's a two-way communications, not a one-way communications. So how this gut is impacting the mental health. So now we understand the neurotransmitter production, gut barrier function, and inflammation and short-chain fatty acids. These are the things which is governing the mental health. Now comes to the mental health, how it is impacting the gut health, the stress response, how we are, you know, responding the day-to-day stress and how we are coming up and how we are coping up. All this is impacting the gut-brain axis. Then neurotransmitter signaling. So any changes, as we spoke about that speed breakers as an example. So if everything is good from the brain, the gut will function good. But if the things are here and there affected or delayed or changed or any alterations, that will impact the gut. Then dietary patterns, the junk food, which is lacking the nutrition, which takes too much time for the digestion, which creates a more of toxins, that also will mask the intestinal mucosa, which forbids the exposure to the sensory requirements, which gives the signal to the brain. Then comes to the psychological factors like in the IBS, which we discussed, how irritating we are or how restless we are if you have IBS. That restless in the mood will affect the brain, and which gives a signal to start to secrete a certain important or stop the particular hormones. So somebody is asking what is the role of gut health in the autism. So that we can discuss at the end of the session, but I can briefly say, uh, as we said, the microbiota, the gut, the bacteria which we carried from our mother during our delivery from the that vaginal canals might be not good or enough to give the proper signalings to give the brain to secrete the certain regulated hormones. So as I said, that the serotonin is 95% is secreted by the intestine only. When the serotonin is not secreted properly, so all other functional will be getting disturbed, like uh, what to say, ஒரு செங்கல் விழுந்து அப்படின்னாக்கா all others நம்ம மடிக்கு வச்சிருக்கிறது எல்லாமே விழுந்த மாதிரி. So it will affect the further connecting process. Again, it's a very deep subject that I will explain later. So now, what are the naturopathic strategies and their relevance in mental health and management? Now we understand the root cause and the functioning modalities. So how the naturopathy can help to address these problems? That is a very important subject. So when we are going to these naturopathic modalities, how we can work on this? So first thing is biofeedback and neurofeedback. So what is the biofeedback and neurofeedback? Just it's a thought process to understand what's the biofeedback and neurofeedback. So what you are seeing and experiencing on your day-to-day life, that is a kind of feedback. It's a kind of non-invasive therapy. அதாவது வந்து no need of any external kind of therapies. Everything is from our side only. So this can be by controlling your, as we discussed in the vagus nerve, which connects the certain vital organs like lungs, heart, stomach, and intestine. So the thing is first we need to take care of your heart rate and the brainwave activity and skin conductions, and this is associated with your focus and relaxation and mood regulation. So this all comes under the biofeedback. Hence the yoga, pranayama, meditation can be the best option to work as a biofeedback and neurofeedback with a expert guidance. So this is the past approach which can be helpful to maintain your mental health or even prevent or even sometimes for the curating aspect. Next comes to the detoxification and cleansing. So when it comes to the detoxification and cleansing, the cleansing requires on three important levels. First thing is on your mind level, we call it the mind detoxification. Next comes to your physical level, that is called blood cleansing and intestinal cleansing. When it comes to the intestinal cleansing, the mucosal line barriers needs to be changed. Of course, in single day or one day or in a month, it is not possible. Yes, but over the period, it is possible to replace the existing mucosal landings. Even in modern science, there is a treatment called fecal transplantation. So in that fecal transplantation, they will for a layman's the fecal means patient's motion, other person ஒரு healthy personோட இருக்கக்கூடிய motion வந்து they can transplant to give the good bacteria to your intestine. So this is called fecal transplantation in modern science. So to in the naturopathy, we need to remodify this content of intestine which harbors the good bacteria. We call it symbiotics. So that is done by a detoxification. After the detoxification, we need to infuse the good bacteria. So hence the cleansing and detoxification from the naturopathic aspect, there is a lot of modalities that the expert can guide you if you really wanted that. So this is another modality. Next comes to the mind body therapies. As we said, if you have IBS, you cannot feel more happy. You will be always under the irritation, anger, or frustrations. Similarly, your body is long term stress like chronic diseases. You will get frustrated. So the thing is we need to work the mind body together. In this mind body, again, two important aspect: psychological aspect and yogic aspect. So combining these two modalities, one can influence their mental health. Next comes to the lifestyle modifications. When it comes to the lifestyle modifications, as we spoke, in the influencing factors of the mental health, sleep is one of the factors. If you're not sleeping on time, in long run, it will affect your biological clock. What is a biological clock? It's a weird kadigaram. So each and every function has their own certain time period or a specific time where it can work on a maximum functionality levels. That might be in the confusion. So confusion will lead to these gut brain axis disturbances. So when we are bringing these lifestyle modifications to the right way, we can minimize these disorganizing things that can bring back to the healthy aspect. Next comes to the herbal medicines. So how the herbal medicines can help into the mental health. So in a recent research, there is a things vitamin D also influence the mental health. So people who's lacking vitamin D also have a lot of mental problems. Similarly, if you go to the any psychologist or allopathy doctors or a psychiatrist, For a beginning level of mind problem, they used to prescribe the nutritional supplement called magnesium mega calm. So if you see that, it's a magnesium. Basically speaking, it's a mineral kind of macronutrients nutrition as per the science. So like this, there is a lot of herbal medicines can help to overcome or work on your existing mental health. So all together can work to create a better mind health. Next comes to the nutritional therapy that we already discussed. So it's a combination of nutrition and herbal medicines. In this nutrition, already we discussed. There is vitamin B3, the niacin or tryptophan. So all these things are essential to create a certain important neurotransmitters or functionalities. So this kind of nutrition nowadays, the nutrition therapy is a big subject that can be through the diet or through the supplements or through the intravenous transition. So like there's a lot of things that also is possible. And when it comes to the certain naturopathy practitioners, they administer the IV therapy in the name of nutrition. Next comes to the individualized treatment plan. Of course, there is a no single size which fits for everyone. So if you really wanted to get rid of your problems, first thing is we need to customize the treatment based on your existing medical conditions and other parameters. So the plan needs to be customized and individualized because there is a no single size which fits for everyone. So these are all combining together. One can take care of the mental health. So these are all the naturopathic strategies which can help to prevent or fix the existing problems through the natural ways. So it's all about the gut brain axis, about the influence on the mental health and how it can be handled through the naturopathic things. So thanks for your patience. So I welcome the questions from the audience to answer your doubts.
Thank you, Doctor. Anyone would like to discuss or if you have any questions, kindly raise your hand or you can post it in the chat or in the Q&A section. Doctor, we have a question about gastritis and how to cure.
See, again, the gastritis is, kind of, two-way aspect. One thing is because of your inflammatory conditions, or else, certain specific bacterial aspects which influences the inflammatory conditions. So this can be treated by, two important aspects. One is taking care of your, stress, mental stress, because without treating your mental stress, just simply treating the gastritis will not give you the results. So in that cases, we need to eliminate the causative food factors, and you have to take a certain kind of what to say, uh, sattvic diet or kind of uh, soothing diet, which creates reform the mucuses.
And there's another question about whether gut health is only the root cause for arthritis or other factors also is there and any certain diet to manage the symptoms.
Of course, this is both. Gut also will influence the arthritis and other factors. It's not about only the gut health, but I can say the gut health will be the root. Others might be kind of in a branches. So when you're fixing the problem, the 50% of the problem can be sorted out. So the most of the people who is coming for the healing is basically we will start with the cleansing, the detoxification. Even for the arthritis, the healing heals will give a detoxification as a primary modality of the treatment for all sort of arthritis. So in that cases, I can say the 50% of the problem can come out of gut health. Other factors I can say might be your nutritional factors or hormonal factors or genetic factors, or even sometimes your kidney problem can cause the arthritis.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Doctor. I hope that answers your question, Swamati. And another question regarding non-veg eating, or like the guest wants to know, like whether eating non-veg will affect our mental health, and also how many times, say, in a month, we can take non-veg.
See, I'm not going to say we should not eat the non-veg, but it depends on the situation. Because if
Okay.
you take in the olden days, people are mostly required more of physical works. They need a more of energy or a strength for that. They need a non-vegetarian. Once they've taken the non-vegetarian, the body has been processed very well. There is no residual or no stability things. It depends on how long it is staying within you. So being a sedentary lifestyle and a modern people, now everything became more luxurious and easy. So in that cases, of course, I can say the non-vegetarian influences the gut health. Again, because as we spoke about the intuition and emotional aspect, that carries, it's, I can say, genetic memory which goes into your system might be influencing the indirect mechanisms. So in that cases, it depends on the individual. So one individual it is good, I mean another individual it is not good. So again, I can say we need an individual approach in this aspect. So when it comes to the healing is, but even the people who are coming with the non-vegetarians or vegetarians, firstly, we will emphasize them to be on a sattvic. So when it comes to the sattvic aspect, we will not ask them to take any non-vegetarian. So in healing is, we never encourage to take any non-vegetarian foods because of two important aspects. One thing is ethical aspect. Second thing is the impact on the body and mind. I can say the genetic memory, the time when that non-vegetarian life has been killed for a food purpose, it is undergoing the shock. That memory will come as a kind of energy transfer. So that will definitely will impact your mental health. Again, it's a cycle. So based on this mental health, and it's a chain reaction that will impact. Yeah. Any
Understood,
next
doctor.
question?
Yeah, and there's a question from Ms. Renuka, like how can we deal with acidity and to avoid taking acidity tablets?
Okay. So for this fast, we need to work at three important aspects. So sleep on times, wake up on time. Second thing, eat less. I'm not asking you to not to eat. Instead of overeating, you need to eat less. Suppose if you have a 1 liter can, instead of filling the 1 liter can, it will overflow. So we can keep it only half liter and one third of the liter, so that it will not the acidity will not happen. And third thing is about foods which causing the acidity. We need to avoid it because nowadays people don't know what food is causing acidity, what food is not causing acidity, because it depends on, as we spoke, the lifestyle factors, how active your life. Certain food which is very heavy for a people may not compatible for you. So first we need to know rule out all those things, and we need to eliminate all these foods so that we can reduce the acidity. But when it comes to the treatment aspect from the healing is, first again we will start with the detoxification. That means cleansing of your system, so that completely we can rejuvenate, rebuild your system, so that they will not face the acidity. So this could be a combination of diet, nutrition, and detoxification.
Okay,
Next.
doctor. And doctor, we have Dr. Parimala who would like to talk. Dr. Parimala, we have enabled your mic. You can have a discussion with doctor, or you can
Yeah.
post your query now. Hello, Dr. Parimala. You can unmute yourself and you can speak.
Hi. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know about prebiotic and probiotic treatments that they suggest about.
Okay, it's mainly about if you go to any allopathy system in modern science, they used to do the fecal transplantation for the colony harboring, the good colony harboring in our intestines. So when it comes to the prebiotic and the probiotics, as a doctor, definitely might be know the things where it is available. It's about the precursors to create, or it's a kind of in a medium to grow the good bacteria. We need to give a good medium. So to create that good medium, first we need to reform the mucus. If you're not reforming the mucus linings, which is now coating on your intestinal epithelium, even though whatever the good bacteria tablet or probiotics food which you are taking, that cannot be sustainable for a long duration.
Oh.
So to sustain that, we need to create I can say இப்போ நம்ம வந்து ஒரு plant grow பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னாக்க அந்த இடத்துக்கு நம்ம உரம் போடுறோம் இல்லையா? So like that, first we need to work on that intestinal epithelium area. Then only it can be sustainable. So for this, there is a certain specific treatment in the healing is which focuses on a rebuilding of that intestine.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Sir, one more thing I just wanted to know. They talk about leaky gut. Is that related to the microbiota?
Exactly, because when the bacterial toxins are more, that creates a lot of actually, basically, these bacterial toxins will create the pro-inflammatory factors. But when the toxins are very high, these
Hmm.
pro-inflammatory factors itself is enough to create a lot of inflammations locally. When the inflammation happens locally, definitely that will erode the linings. So that when the linings are eroded, basically that will filter the unwanted things, that will start to allow the unwanted things enter into the system and lymphatic system, that will create the further cyclic reactions.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, sir.
And doctor, we have one more person. There's no name mentioned. I would like to have a question.
Okay.
I think it's mentioned as Galaxy A7. You can unmute yourself and talk. You can ask your question as doctor.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, my question is
Sorry, your voice
what
is
So
audible. Not
your
audible to me.
voice is not audible, sir.
1 minute. Now it's audible.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Okay. So my question is what is the role of healing health in promoting this gut-brain health?
Okay, a good question. So basically, the healing is a kind of integrated wellness and naturopathy hospital because uh, when it comes to the health, we require a proper mindset first. So most of the wellness center or hospitals are when focusing on the physical health, the healing health is focusing both aspect, physical health and mental health aspect. So we had curated packages which can work as an integrated approach, as we said, and this gut brain axis, it's a bidirectional communications for any healthy life, whether it's physically or mentally. This both needs to be taken care together. So when it comes to the healing is all the treatment modalities which we discussed in the session will be available under the single roof, so that we need not to go to the here and there to pitch and fix the things together. So the package will be customized based on the person's need. That is the individual centric approach. So I can say we had a yoga sessions, we had a meditation session, we had a nutritionally planned diet based on your underlying health condition, that is done by your doctors after the consultation, understanding your health conditions, allergic things on your specific food and the nutritional deficiencies, along with the treatment which addresses your physical illness, because the physical illness also influences your mind. That treatment will be from the combination of naturopathic aspect and ayurvedic aspect. So these are the combinations how the healing is planned the package for this mental health.
Okay. See, my main health issues I'm actually 45 years old, and
Okay.
for the past 43 years old, I was about 73 kgs only. But in the
Okay.
past 2 years, I have gained about 10 kgs, which is very abnormal
Okay.
because my weight has been very constant around 73 to 72 to 74 kgs in 43 years. But only in the past 2 years, it has increased up to 10 kgs. So my main issue is weight increase and sleep, quality has come down. And I also have bloating of stomach and my appetite is sometimes it's not good. So these are the issues I have. And in the weight increases looks abnormal because
Okay.
you can increase by 1 or 2 kgs, that is okay, but 10 kgs in suddenly in 2 years, it looks abnormal. So I think
Okay.
mostly I think it is due to that sleep issue. I think this is my problem.
Of course, that can be addressed. We are happy to help you, sir. And I
Okay.
can, no, you can contact Mr. Anthony regarding this in his number. And further help or discussion, we can do it privately.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
So,
fine, sure.
yeah, we will get in touch with you and we'll have a consultation regarding the same. So, thank you for your time. And Dr. One, a last question we have received through the chat. Ms. Mohammadi wants to know whether nightmares comes. Is there any link between nightmares and eating late or taking a typical food?
I'm sorry, I'm not the right person to answer these questions because it is related to the very deep psychological aspects. So my knowledge is limited in this aspect. So I would like to skip this question.
Fine, doctor.
Yeah.
So I guess those are the questions. We've almost addressed all the queries.
Okay.
And yeah, any other questions anyone have that you can post it in the chat. Through the question Q&A, there's another question received from Ms. Vijaya regarding sinusitis, whether it is caused due to gut issue, doctor.
Uh, Sinusitis related to, I can say 90% no, but 10% yes. The reason is, the body is in a kind of, intuitively functional. So anywhere else in inflammation in the body, yes, can trigger the mechanism if you have one small problem, the inflammatory things on already in your sinus. But if your sinus is completely healthy, the gut will not impact until the entire system is getting affected.
And actually, Dr. Parimla wants to know whether drinking Yakult will do any good for our gut.
Somebody is asking, can naturopathy help in autism betterment?
Yes.
Of course, there is a specific autism center which runs for treatment of naturopathy things, which had given a lot of results.
Thank you, doctor. And there's one more question regarding how to maintain gut health for hypertension and diabetic patients.
How to maintain gut health in hypertension and diabetes patients. See, the parameters are same for everyone. It's not about hypertensive patient or diabetic patients. The only thing is about certain factors. The food, I can say high caloric food, certain foods for a diabetic, that high glycemic food needs to be eliminated, and all other naturopathic treatments in hand together needs to be applied. So in that cases, I can say when it comes to the hypertension, first we need to minimize the vagal stimulations. To minimize the vagal stimulation, we need to work on the heart rate and your breath rate and intestinal secretions. And so in this way, the yoga, meditation, proper biofeedback mechanism, lifestyle modifications can help to develop your gut health. And when it comes to the diabetic patients, we need to take a few important aspects. Depends on their status of medicinal intake, whether it's the person is sorry under insulin or medicines. We need to modify the food intake at the same time by giving a enema or short of colon cleansing and introducing the probiotics can modify the gut bacteria and can build the good health system.
Thank you, doctor. And everyone, I can see we were having few more queries regarding our treatment. So I have posted our contact number and email ID on the chat box. So kindly connect with us individually so that we can help you with the consultation regarding your specific issues. Since we're already running late of the webinar, so any specific question regarding the topic that we may address before we close? Anyone have any specific question related to the topic?
Somebody is asking the fiber can influence the gut health. Just I
Yes,
would
yes,
like
sir.
to
Yes,
answer
sir.
this question. Of course,
Yes, sir.
the fiber plays major important factors in creating a short chain fatty acids, which is very important to influence and give the medium to grow the good bacteria. So the fibers are important when it comes to the gut health and gut microbiome. Yes.
Thank you, doctor. And we also launching a quick poll. It's a feedback survey regarding this webinar. So everyone, thank you for spending your valuable time. Kindly attend this poll so that it will, help us to improve on the upcoming sessions. So, and any feedback you have, kindly contact us through what, to the phone number or to the email mentioned in the chat box. Thank you all. I can see some responses for our feedback survey. So any other final questions anyone have before we close the session? All right, great. So thank you all for participating in today's webinar, and we hope you found this session very informative. So as I mentioned, if you have any further questions or would like to know more about our wellness center and the treatments that we offer, please get in touch with us on the contact. And we will also be sharing the link of this webinar recording that you can share it with your friends and contacts, so they can also get to know more about this very informative session. So once again, I thank you all for your participation, and thank you, Dr. Vadivel, for this wonderful session. So we look forward to seeing you all at the next session. Thank you.